opening fire looked good. A little bit of overkill coming up from Cat. Men at Arms are going to start leaking in here. But it looks like Cat's raw number advantage will hold up. The Trips, however, what? The Mango!
The Bills are
Mangoes
getting
to clear
pulled. The
this.
Mangoes on the north.
The Mangoes are doing it all right now. All the trebuchets are gone!
I'm speechless. He won the siege war. Bill pull comes in. 20 seconds on the clock. I don't even think they get
The
there.
Mangoes are still alive.
They don't even get there.
Dimu still has the Mangoes. If he just targets this big clump of villagers,
Well,
we're going to hear a lot of
castles. The
going
keep is
off at
going to do
once.
enough. The boiling oil comes out. The Bills are almost dead. They go for the kill on this. They're going to go for the dive. Demu actually has almost no units to defend this. It's just going to be the keep. And the siege weapons now.
I mean, he's not even pulling his villagers. The wild part is Dimu isn't even pulling his villagers to just stand on site.
Landmark, though.
This is scary. He's cut off from home. Demos.
Or is it scary for...
I know, it's scary for Dimu. He's running into the demos!
Oh my god. That's a huge hit.
Return
The
fire
Demo
coming
just
in.
lost his whole navy.
Dimu's dead. He's going to lose everything here. What a
Yo,
turn!
what a chaotic fight.
Oh my god, the timing on that Cat. He even pivoted right side to catch him on the retreat. It looked like this was going to be a Dimu favored game, but that strike right there resets him. Cat now out of position with his own spring lords, but Dimu lacks the demo count to now punish that.
Demu's fishing boats as military here.
Yeah.
So Cat
Which
has
makes this
a massive
chaos.
military advantage.
Yeah,
Look
it
at
makes
the
it
size
absolute
of that
chaos to
fleet.
keep track of. Now, if he doesn't take out the docks, demos are still a problem, and Dimu did just queue up 3 more. But the demos from Cat, it's an overwhelm again!
No arrow ships. No arrow ships at all from it. Oh, they just spawned just a little too late.
Turn fire comes out, but it's going to reset Cat. I don't think he cares, though. Damage once again done. It's now 3 times the spring to that of which Ben has. It's not moving.
If they were, that fleet could have gone cooked. Look at that. That fleet is cooked. Can we look at the HPs of Cat's fleet right now?
He'd rob you,
That
though.
is some low. Everybody is hurt there. Which means I actually think Demo has more HP here.
Demo.
He's pushing in. The demos sneaking through. That's a lot of demos.
He
That
likes
is a lot
formations,
of
though.
demos.
He doesn't even care. There's not enough archer ships here. Goes in. This could hit the fishing as well. Deeper and deeper we go. He needs more. He needs a lot more. There it is.
Yikes.
Close here, surely.
Yeah, but this. How many times have we seen a fight right in this concave that Demo is just won?
Have to see.
The upgrades
Demo's
should be
coming out.
coming in potentially.
Detonation good.
The demos are just waiting in the pack. Oh my gosh, Cat has a huge fleet of demos. They're coming forward.
Yeah, but wait, they're just A-clicking into one target here. Archer ship's clearing up a lot of them, but a few are
There's
going to leak
enough.
through.
There's enough.
That's it.
Oh
They're
my
gone.
gosh.
Everything is gone.
Everything dies.
Demo reaches in.
Well.
That's a big sinker. I mean, you say
Eric
well.
goes down.
2 Grand Galleys left.
If there's no Carricks left.
I mean, the screws of the cannon should be enough
The
to clear up,
demos.
but the demo, again? How is he not dead?
This one, can we just talk about the bottom of the sea right here has got to, at some point, it's not going to be a seabed. It's just going to be, at some point, it's not going to be a seabed. It's just going to be a graveyard of ships all the way. And it's
Oh,
gonna
no,
be a
no.
ship
It's
island.
not going to be a graveyard. It's going to be a wooden dam. I
And
really
houses
would
are
just
annoying.
love to have paused the game at this stage and went for a mid-series interview of both. So, yeah, how do you think you're going to win the game right now?
Well,
And
like,
you just get that
yes,
point.
professional.
Yeah, you get that point. Yeah. But when you get that moment where he was like, I think I can landmark snipe him. And then
Oh,
you,
man,
like,
we gotta, dude, yo, we can't look at this. Children, cover your eyes.
anyone losing Siege, it's
What was
genuinely
in
like,
that?
I think it was
That had
empty.
15 things.
Wait, really?
That had 50.
15 horsemen.
horsemen.
Oh my god.
He's got a journey. They're in the middle of the ocean. Here he goes. Where are we going,
guys,
boys?
Guys, please. Guys,
Unload.
run.
He can kill the bombard.
Wait, what did he click there?
Kill the bombard.
He killed a villager instead of the bombard here.
Oh, that bombard's good.
It should
Wait.
theoretically
One more
reload
shot.
coming through.
What a dream.
Oh, build Keshiks
He's
and
got
crossbows.
48. Oh, this fight is not good.
Oh, the choke points. The berries are actually working against him because the Keshiks, they have numbers. They can't use them like this. Oh, Crossbow's also getting buffed by the nearby outposts.
One thing is, it's kind of hard to tell which is the Keshik and which is the Horseman. And it looks like he might actually have enough here. The Knights are dropping.
I'm not convinced yet. The crossbows are kind of being ignored. This is it. He has to run away.
Oh, and so many low HP Knights.
Because on this screen, you'd think, wow, Mongols have more units. Yeah, half of them are economy.
Oh boy. Here comes the fight. Demo gonna stand his ground. The spearman protecting the crossbowman. The villagers going back to work. This is a bold assumption, thinking he's gonna win this fight.
Fence arrow. It's not gonna be enough to hold though. It's not gonna work here. Like, remember, the other thing about these military numbers is deceptive. Look how many ones are boats, right? He's got 8 Navy vessels. His military force on land isn't substantial here. Wave 1 goes down, but now spearman crossbow are massing up at home for the English. Dun, 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 dun. Can we check the militia timer? Because they're about to evaporate. I think they got 15 seconds left max.
And then the turn comes, right? Wait, oh boy, he is...
Yeah.
You gotta move these archers away. Oh, and the raid, there's not enough space at the end. The Knight gonna get a lot of damage here. The Gremlin's about to pop, which means the archers will be completely exposed to a lot of cav.
And now you die. Straight away, the horseman. Turn around. And run it down mid. Louis completely out of position.
What was that? That was such a Looney Tunes moment. It's like he completely forgot. He's got something to say. The Spearmen are kind of out of position, going for the raid there, but the Mangonel shot comes in from the white tower below. And now the Spearmen are in position. The Mangonel gonna do a hasty retreat into the massive Spearmen.
He could just punt another shot. The village is being pulled as well. I mean, Louis, if he loses this area of the map, he's going to lose the relics as well. At that point, Farimba just doesn't really exist. Full send.
Better focus fire from Marine Lord here. He's going to take out a ship initially, but half of his ships are super hurt. He's hiding the demo, though. The arrow ships get taken out. This demo's position is really... There's no more...
I mean, Louis is actually scrambling over his own shipwrecks to try and get back past that choke point for the kill. That was so well microed by Marine Lord.
No, I want him to go
because
left.
When he goes right, he can do no wrong. Demos are in. And that is going to be the hit he needs.
What, boss? That was crazy. Louis was not ready for that. Maybe it's because he's diving the woodline? The land is being stretched a bit thin here, but I feel like Marine Lord at this point... But I feel like Marine Lord, at this point, can't Marine Lord just A-move? I think you're right.
Yep. The Golems are the #1 unit that uses Bloomery the best. There's no better unit.
Yeah, they double attack.
Yeah, but like he neglects it until the bitter end. This is gonna be a hard fight. And again, where's the front line for B?
All on crossbows, and he had to reroute his knights, and maybe some stables are not really there. Fighting without his full mass, and he has mangonels, but they're not here yet.
I don't think they're going to be here in time. No. They didn't get the memo on when they were meant to wake up for the attack. Gulem's still standing their ground here. Even puts the trebuchets in for good luck. Keep drop attempt here by Zern. This one feels less likely to work than the last one. Big smash! Mango low.
Big smash.
Reload's coming in fast here. Splinter formation, but nice micro. B just targeting multiple locations. Looks like the shot trigger advantage will come through clutch for Zern, as it looks like B was just 25 seconds short of being able to even out there. However, the biomass might be good enough to push through.
Okay, here we go. The army's coming in. Zerton feeling the pressure back against the wall. No golden come. Can only make rams, spearmen, and archers.
Oh, God.
He's going to be moving forward into the mass, waiting arms of B, who's welcoming him with a warm hug made of bombards.
The quick wall to choke point him up.
And the key pass and the great bombard placement as well. The units here, they're just melting.
This is done.
That exchange rate starts becoming a lot worse. Almost wonder if the Golden Gate...
Oh, the demo!
Oh, the demo! Oh, what an incredible shot. Certain gets a demo just in time. Tanking the market with this strategy isn't the way. And wow, the demos connect. B caught slacking, and down goes his Navy. Certain he's got them in view. Wait, and only 3 arrow ships. He's got to make sure they're in the right spots. B with good spreads on the demos is going to start moving in on the north. The demos are going to get taken out. The Holt's exchanging their fire.
Fishing's exposed though. Like he's actually losing economy in this fight right now. This is I think B's happy with that, right? The king is gone. The king is dead. Not long live the king, so he won't be back again anytime soon. He just needs to get out clean.
Oh, wow. Big name for B here. Looks like he has most of the lads as well.
So, Demo counter knife. Certain. He has nowhere to run here.
Oh, that was clean.
He dodges. Demo is going to start to connect.
He's
Second
going for
wave.
it. Four
He's
demos.
pinning him. Just need to shimmy around. Okay. At the moment where he could just end Zertan's existence, he backs up. And now he's body blocking his own demos. Wait, what is going on right now? These demos, he's actually griefing himself with the formation.
Range is good. And
The demos are just actually struggling to get through here.
Well,
He
I think
splits the fleet.
you want them hidden. You want them hidden for a bit.
Here we go. Big hit coming in. Zern, the panic. There's nowhere to run.
Oh my god, the entire fleet just gets completely eviscerated. B just wins the water in one fell swoop.
They're having a good time.
No way this is worth.
Okay, wait, hear me out. Has he got the pit mine up? I don't think he got the pit mine yet, right? If he builds the pit mine...
He did. He built it.
Okay, so he got the pit mine. Mance is coming on the way. That kind of allows you to get away with having these idle villages. Because certain... What did we say is the counter to this? You don't react to it. What is Certain doing right now?
Just 2 shots.
Dying.
Fishing boat.
Dying is what he's doing right now.
What? But this camel answer rate is going to be pretty huge.
Big.
BC has to get not caught out here. Berkshire going down on the wood line on the south, and BC's not paying attention because he's focused on his land.
This is such a heavy loss. I mean, he's still got an eco lead, but kind of starving himself out gold. He's still got reserves behind this.
There was a dervish in that fight, technically.
Alright, yeah.
Big fight win in the middle, though. Mass heal coming out, and you can see the power of these dervishes.
Yep, I definitely see the power of these dervishes in this fight.
He didn't hold. It wasn't enough.
Okay,
This is an expensive loss. But
I
here's the
mean-
flank. The horsemen are in
I don't
good
think he
position.
cares.
Sorry.
He gets in on top of him. If these hand cannons flop dead, Kiljadi does not have the gold to remass.
Well, he is getting gold still. He found the 8K on the right, but
It's almost gone. And there's a
he's
raid
also
coming in there
to
as well.
mine. No, it's not. That's Vils. They're mining it.
No.
Oh no, that is a raid.
That is a raid.
Oh,
That's a
I
big
thought that
one.
was Vils. Wow.
These are the type of games
is
that
the
hold you,
Abbey
man.
repaired, by the way? Can we get a new Abbey? Can we get a new king? No, never mind. That was a pipe dream. It was a dream. It was just a hope. Actually,
more
this
kings.
fight is going well for BC. He's just going to win the front line. And how
It's the
hand
attack
cannons
speed. It's
aren't
just
enough.
stupid. Like, this attack speed is dumb. I'm not even going to pretend it's not absurd at this stage.
Fictional fights, and
Kiljadi.
this is a big push. But
Maybe it's
BC's
not the whole
ready.
army.
BC is definitely ready, though.
I mean, the problem is there's no hand cannons left, right? So it's just a melee mosh pit. And over time, the men-at-arms should grind you down there. Kiljadi, he needs to find his way to the landmarks, but how do you get through quick enough?
At least he's having scouts just for the meat.
He just want to know what's happening. This is failing, though. Like, Kiljadi, there's not enough rams to kill the landmarks, right? And there's not enough Ghoulims to hold this anymore.
Yeah, BC was more than ready for this push. The TC does go down, but what's the point of that?
But the
This is
rams...
the song that never ends.
Okay, please.
On and all my friends. And if it is annoying, that is too bad.
You're singing way too coherently for how deep into the day we are. You need to be more dead.
The ram pull is here, though.
He's got it at the box
Berkshire's
here.
gonna go down. This is so many rams.
The villagers are being
Berkshire
pulled.
down.
This is going to be a long repair. And Beastie, he has no wood.
Has Killjardy done it?
It's
Has
going
he
to be
done it?
close.
I thought Beastie had this for a while. I thought Killjardy was dead, man.
Foundations are going to get a bit shaky eventually, right? But no.
No.
That's coming in.
BC's not really taking a good engagement here.
He
The
doesn't
middle-
have the attack speed aura. Like, this is a losing fight.
And here comes Killjardy. I think he's done it.
Oh my god, this is it. It's happening. It took... I think this is about to be longer than the Cat Dimu game. The longest game of the day on the way. Beastie making his last stand here. But the Ghoulims will not be denied. Rams coming through.
Rams
They're
are
going for the
coming in
box ship.
again. Oh my gosh. What?
It might take one more wave, but that's it. I don't think was there ever an official
No
name for
way.
this? Anyway,
No way. No
Archer
way.
ships.
No way.
The fishing boat makes it. Demo's in. Killjani's going to take a hit here, and it's a big one.
No, no freaking way. The whole Navy's dead. The entire Navy is dead. Beastie just destroyed his entire Navy. Oh my gosh, this is make or break. This is the game. This is the game. He's gonna take out the villages with the torches.
Is he though? This is a dive deep and a lot of eco to be lost here. Beastie diving even deeper in.
He's got to pull. Gremlins are here too. It's a front line.
Mango does come out. We'll get one wallop out. Probably going to go down immediately afterwards. But this is the thing. The crossbow numbers are deceptive. Yes, numbers are advantageous for Beastie, but the attack speed for the crossbows.
He's got it. No, Beastie's got this, man. He's got enough.
If he's going to run into the weight and arms of the Navy at this rate. Javelins hitting towards the coast, but villagers now starting to be exposed. Killjani is down to 29 economy. This cannot be held back any longer. A strong start to a series for Killjani, but a bitter end in game number 4 because Beastie is going to dub himself king of the Socotra here. Nothing else, and this gives a perfect opportunity for Baltu to try and punish.
That Mangonel is coming in clutch, though. Nice hit on that group of javelin throwers. Gazi Raiders will launch a counterattack, but at the same time, these javelin throwers are just butchering all these archers before the cost stage upgrade came in.
If we get the Akratoid back at home, Baltoon should have been activating that to delay the Gazi attack. Oh, he doesn't even know.
He's not. Actually, he's got a couple of Varangians fighting those. Oh my lord, he's going to lose a couple of villagers, but I think he's cleaning this up, and at the same time...
return fire, though. Mango goes down. Dive's going to continue now. It's a lot of other time and also potential to take down villages into mass cataphracts. I mean, I don't know what else you need 5,000 gold for at this stage.
I think it might just be a matter of him being a little too busy microing his units, and he did good micro here in this fight. Picked off a couple of siege weapons, most importantly the Mangonel as well. And there's the foreign engineering company coming in, KP. Love this defensive keep though. The Mangonel is gone, no traps on the other side, and now the Varangians are jumping on this force.
Yeah, and CSO's standing his ground, which is the worst possible thing you can do here.
The boiling oil actually hitting them. Now it retargeted the infantry, and you know, still one of the more lackluster upgrades to these keeps. Still does a little damage.
CSO marching in. He's going for a full hand cannoneer switch. God.
Oh my lord. He's throwing away his whole army here, KP. He's trying to trade it off before the upgrades came in, but this is a horrendous trade. Archers and crossbows against javelins. You're fighting into a unit that hard counters yours. Despite having 4 relics and 2 sacred sites. Let's add that to the list.
Oh god. Please stop. Please stop right now. Leave. When a mango emplacement is better than a cannon emplacement. Oh my god.
I'm not going to lie, KP. I think it's actually a
blessing
I knew you were going to say that. To lose all those bills.
Elephants are going to last longer. You watch Political. He's going to get a bunch of them together, and then he's going to die. He's going to die. Hand cannoneers, there's not enough of them here. He only has 8. And the Berserk has been activated. He's going to lose the siege!
The destroyed value is up in the skies, KP. Like, obviously, again, that counter is not necessarily totally indicative, but...
Amazing, but one thing first, HRE spanned on both sides, so you know that's not coming.
Wait, are we muted? All right, please.
Let's try it again. Let's try it again.
You know what happened? They knew Crackety was about to rant about HRE, so actually production are muted. Go though, Crackety. Please talk to us about the one true empire.
Well, I feel like I don't wait. I feel like I don't really need to because we're seeing them banned on both sides here at the moment. But yeah, I mean, we're back. We're back. We're in the quarterfinals now. Everything has been leading up to this. We're in the playoffs now. Things are starting to get serious. Everything from here on out is a set where if you don't win, you're out.
Yep. Single elim. I feel like that's a bit unusual for EGC. I feel like most of our tournaments we've been kind of having that double elim for a while, which is nice to see it make a return. And nice to see the return of some faces that have been missing, right, Tim? I think the most notable one for a lot of people, B, but close alongside him, Ben hasn't been making that many deep runs in S-tier tournaments.
Yeah, we haven't seen it for a while. I mean, we know that we see Demu in the last tournament that we saw in the Elite Classic too, right? You know, so he was doing well. He plays great games, and in the Elite Classic, we had 16 of those players that every one of them could have made the playoffs. Every one of them could have been in that top 8 position. And it's just like Master of Realms too. I think going back to this tournament, this is probably one of my favorite tournaments that EGC has put on so far because it's a smattering of everything. You know, you have some dry maps that are open, like Dry Arabia that we're going to see in game 1. You see some closed maps. You see some hybrid maps. You see a little water. It's getting wet out here, ladies and gentlemen. So there's so many different ways to play and so many different styles where you have some players that are maybe micro intensive more so than macro intensive, and you see that play out on water. And then we have macro intensive players in some of these open and closed maps. This has been so much fun to watch.
And then we have the players that camp in the corner when they get to closed maps. And, you know, some people still are psychos who enjoy that play style. But, you know, one psycho who's been going undefeated, I see him in chat. I'm going to make his head even bigger. There's only one player who hasn't dropped a single game so far in this tournament, which is incredible. Yeah, it's Marine Lord. Everyone else has at least given one game over. I think actually, with the exception, I believe BC might have dropped one game. And then after that, it's been at least 2 games dropped by every remaining player in the tournament. Playfield, right? And this is interesting as well because when we get into this one, I've got to do it to Dumu, and it breaks my heart, Crackety. I don't know if you remember the last time Dumu was able to beat Beastie. We're going to have to like dust off the analogs. So I was looking up the stats. Currently, it's 6 wins for Beastie, 2 wins for Dumu. The last time that Dumu was able to beat Beastie in an S tier tournament was N4C.
That's been a while. It's been it's been a while. Then again, like it's always difficult, like getting that matchup, getting that confrontation happening, because sometimes obviously players they spawn in on opposite side of the brackets.
Yeah.
Those things can happen. But yeah, N4C, man, that's it's been a minute. It's been a minute since that tournament.
That's an interesting thought as well. You might be onto something there because Dimmu and Beastie, like they're usually just sitting top of the ladder, right? They grind more than almost anyone when it comes to pub games. They always get that 1-2. So it's kind of interesting thought. But you know, what we have got to do quickly is kind of dissect this draft a little bit. You know, we've had the maps drafted out courtesy of Surfshark. I am noticing you usually get banned a lot. Crackety, I don't want to do it to your favorite Civ, but Tim will back me up on this. Clearly, they need to be nerfed because currently they are the most winningest Civ at over a 70% win rate in this tournament.
Yeah,
the phone.
Crackety, no, I got this one. 70%'s a little ridiculous, isn't it? 70%'s a little ridiculous. And, you know, we kind of know why. We see them on water. You know, I said this when Zushi came out. They're so good when you go from Dark Age to Feudal Age and you have that tempo, right? You get that IO as soon as you start the game. So it's going to be able to get that economy going. You know, you're going to be able to, just because getting into Feudal Age is a little bit cheaper, right? It's 340, 170 instead of the 400, 200. So you get that little bit of tempo to get up to Feudal Age faster. You get that first Navy ship out. 70%. I'm just saying.
We're going to have to kneecap them. But they're going to have to go. Roos is at 44% win rate. Tim's doing cartwheels right now, but it's time for us all to do cartwheels because Beastie versus Dimmu. Single Elim. Whoever loses here goes out. Best of 5 kicks off now, and we do so with the good old classic, Dry Arabia.
All right, Dry Arabia. Here we go. Dimmu spawning in the color purple, playing as the Delhi Sultanate. Beastie on the other hand side, he's playing as the Mongols here. So it's going to be probably a very heavy aggression in the feudal age, I would say here.
Yeah, you got to think so. I mean, this is a matchup that, I don't know about you particularly, Crackety, but this is a matchup that I've played a lot on the Delhi side. And even though I'm just a lowly diamond player and don't necessarily know the top competitive meta, what do you think in a vacuum on a map like Dry Arabia where all of the variables are kind of standardized? Who do you like?
Well, if you look at it objectively, it should be the Delhi, right? Because they're not just getting the sacred sites or the option of going for the sacred sites, but when it comes to the raw military, they're able to produce them really, really quickly, and their infantry gets that bonus 15% attack speed with them as well. So the archers are just baseline superior here in this matchup. I think that's really what it comes down to, these big kind of archer balls in the mid game, where you're getting to that point where you're one-shotting most of the units, and then having that extra bit of attack speed really makes a difference.
Yeah, you know, it feels like for Delhi, as long as they get their feet out from under them, right? Because the Mongols, you see Beastie, he's got his Uvu up, he's got his barracks up, so we're probably going to be expecting, some spearmen to come out, and maybe if Beastie wants to do some kind of Dark Age aggression, I guess he could, but, you get a lot of these 2 times production units. So when you get to that 4 or 5 minute area, the Mongols are going to have more units, right? Because the Delhi, they're trying to get their wood economy going. They're trying to get all their buildings. They're trying to efficiently produce out of them. So Beastie, if he's able to really set the tone these 4 to 5 minutes, Crackety, I feel like he's in a good spot.
Yeah, should definitely be. And we are seeing that kind of Mongol specialty coming in here against the Delhi with that tower rush. And looking at the spawn here for Demu, not that you really want to drop an outpost on the gold against Delhi, because Delhi, they don't really need the gold for upgrades. But yeah, even if you wanted to, the gold is very far behind in the base of Demu. Instead, probably going to go for the woodline and the berries here, I would guess.
Yeah, honestly, towering against Delhi, I really like it more so on the woodline, and we're seeing that villager move over. She has moved basically the entirety of the map. She's going to walk over, put that tower right next to that woodline, which is nice because, we talked about this already. Delhi needs wood to get all of those buildings up. If you're going to put towers on those wood lines, it means you're going to stall that production out.
Exactly, and now Tower Victory is going to be coming in. Demu at least has line of sight on that outpost, so he does know that it's going to be coming in. Has a lot of sheep as well gathered here so far. Mining camp is getting delayed as well. Is going to be able to deny the Mongols a little bit of bounty that they could be getting otherwise. And yeah, overall, Demu should be in a pretty fine state here at the moment. Outpost is going to go up, but it's not going to affect Demu right away.
No, it definitely isn't. Just because, there's 2 wood lines there, right? He's got another one on the northwestern side. So if he wanted to try to get some wood, he obviously has some straggler trees as well. But this is kind of, when it comes to the Delhi Sultanate, they really are a snowball sieve, right? And I'm going to use that analogy over and over again, and I've been using it for about 2 years, because they need to pack the snow correctly and get all of those buildings and get all of those military units to actually make an impact and go get those sacred sites. Doing things like this tower, it's just a little bit of, it might not be the biggest amount of delay because Demu's going for the straggler trees and all that kind of stuff, but maybe with just a little bit of time, Demu's not going to pack that snow well, and then we don't get that Delhi avalanche.
We're taking a look at Beastie Space, so he's got the gold and the wood right up next to his TC. It's going to be really tough for Demu to put on any immediate aggression, which is why I think Ghazi Raiders probably isn't going to be the opener here for Demu, not at all. It's going to have to be archers, and archers are also going to be a little bit difficult here for him to field, because we can already tell that his wood control right now at this point in the game, it's fairly limited. He cannot have access to his close wood line due to these outposts. Instead, he'll probably have to go for the woodline that's a little bit further away. That's not going to be in range of his TC, which is in turn going to allow Beastie to potentially get some Keshiks out and really be able to harass that woodline.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do, right? Demu, you kind of, when you're dealing with a tower rush, I feel like Demu's doing the right thing. He gets an archery range, he puts a scholar in it, making sure he's going to be efficiently producing those archers, getting them out in a few seconds. And at least with 1 or 2 archers, probably maybe about 2 or 3, he's going to be able to make sure, hopefully, this tower doesn't get up. But he's pulling the boys. The entire Delhi Providence is coming up here to try to take down this tower. And one of them's going to end up going down. Spearman's going to move down to the south side. So now, that lumber camp, that safe wood line, we can get that little bit on the western side. He's going to be able to get a little bit of that wood there.
I feel like that was really necessary. You could tell Beastie, he was just moving all of his spearmen very close to, on top of his villagers, which made it pretty much impossible for Demu with his archers to try and snipe down that villager. He just couldn't click him. So Demu actually had to, quote-unquote, overreact and pull that many villagers. Otherwise, that outpost would have gone up and really put him in a precarious situation when it comes to securing that wood line.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You got 10 or 15 villagers that are running out with shivs when they're getting a little upset. They're getting a little angry. I think you got to get rid of that tower. You got to walk in the other direction. What do you think about Beastie's idea of going for deer stones in feudal age? I know, we see a lot of Mongols going with silver tree with trade, but against the Delhi, you think deer stones is the move?
I think deer stones has to be the move, mainly because Delhi, they love spamming out those Ghazi Raiders. So if you were going for trade, it's going to be very tough for you to be able to protect your trade. And look at that, Beastie sneaking up an outpost here in the corner on the berry. It's going to make it very hard for Demu to go for that kind of live transition from sheep over to berries.
Yeah, I love this.
He's going to make the life a little bit harder there for him.
I really love that for Beastie, putting those towers around there. He's getting arrow slits too, so maybe he might be able to pick off some of those villagers on the north wood line. But we all know for Delhi, they hate farm transitioning, right? It slows tempo. They're such a tempo civ, so they're putting towers everywhere. They're making sure those berries end up going, you know, making sure that if Demu does go to those areas, he's going to be able to find it. Arrow slit's going to be able to shoot over an entire forest, Kraken. A Demu villager goes down.
That's 2 villagers down already, and it feels like, did Demu have some idle time here? Probably. He pulled a lot of his villagers earlier, because now he's down 3 villagers in a game against the Mongols, where usually you'd be ahead by a villager. So right now, Demu, yeah, he must have lost a lot, not just through losing those villagers, but also just passively having some TC idle time due to like just having to pull all of his villagers there to deny that outpost from coming up. And I like this play from BC as well. Right now, before Demu's able to take any map control, going out onto the deer.
Yeah, I really like this too, because I mean, he really does have 90 to 95% of this map, just because that one tower, right? That one tower just making Demu kind of hole out into his base. It means you're not going to be able to go out. You're not going to be able to get those sacred sites. Maybe if you want to get some food, you're not going to be able to do that either. Now he goes to that wood line that you alluded to, Kraken, in the northwest part of the map. Keshik's going to get a little bit of a charge. Demu's villagers, they're really finicky. They really want to pull out those shivs every once in a while. Ghazi Raiders will be able to catch up to them. It looks like 1 or 2. It's good enough to get those Keshiks to move back in the opposite direction. But now Demu, military count 14 to 9. Might he see his way out of this?
Yeah, this is now the point in time. Demu, he still has access to all the resources that he needs in order to be able to make his military, has the scholars, so he's able to get that very fast production out there. And if he's able to get control over some of these sacred sites here, he's going to be in a very fine position. Getting the sacred sites akin to like having 4 villagers gathering, pretty much, like 3 to 4 villagers. And you can then use that gold that you're getting to buy other resources. And look at what BC's doing behind all of that. We got the nice little picture-in-picture there. After putting up an outpost on the berries in the corner, he's now putting up an outpost on the double berries. Not double berries, double deer.
That's so good. That's so good. Because, like, one of the reasons why Delhi snowballs as much as they do is getting that map control means you don't have to do the farm transition, right? And you can continue to make all of these units. Now, he's just going to have that little bit of delay. And that could be in a little bit of delay for production. It could be something that BC might be able to get that military count kind of evened out a little bit. Right now, military count 20 to 11. And it looks like with these Keshiks, he's trying to stop some of these sacred sites from going. But that middle one is going to end up getting capped. I think that southern one might end up getting capped too. Beastie just doesn't have the amount of units. He doesn't have the amount of units to make sure he can take an engagement on a site.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, right now it is only Keshiks for him. Demu, though, so far, he's been going only on Ghazi Raiders and Archers. Now, the Archers, in mass, are going to be able to provide a lot of value here. Armor upgrades, Pierce armor upgrades, and Pierce damage upgrades coming in for both players roughly at the same time, so fairly even there. But now 2 sacred sites have been captured. That's going to be a good amount of value coming in for Demu here. And we can see the market has already been placed.
Yeah, he's going to be able to trade off some of that gold like you talked about. And, you know, I really like Demu's composition right now based on what's going on. The Ghazi Raiders can kind of hold up against those Keshiks. They get that +2 to heavy. That tower finally going down. Spearmen are going to try to take some Ghazi Raiders with it, and it looks like they will take one. Keshik's going to be moving around that north side, moving north, maybe trying to cut off some reinforcements. I think that tower, even though it might not have necessarily delayed him, it just means, you know, a couple Ghazi Raiders go down. Maybe it was worth that little bit of delay to go up to that northwest trading post, or that northwest wood line, excuse me, and Keshiks have been able to raid there.
Yeah. Textiles meaning, though, none of the villagers did go down here for Demu. Sacred sites, though, are getting decapped. It's so many Keshiks right now. Like, Demu doesn't have any spearmen out at the moment.
Yeah, the only spearman that he had was pretty much in that tower. So now that they're gone, I mean, Demu's making a lot of archers. He's got 18, 19, almost 20 archers that are going to be there. Military count 30 to 12. Honestly, even though, you know, there's a little bit of a villager discrepancy, you know, you see the economic count is 37 to 33. I feel like for Demu, if he continues to make some units, he keeps Beastie trying to worry about decapping these sacred sites, and this extends into feudal a little bit, Delhi's going to look pretty good.
Yeah, they're going to look good. The question that I'm asking myself here is, at which point is Demu adding in spears? Or is he planning to just try and overwhelm the Keshiks with Mass Ghazi and Mass Archers here? You need quite the big Archer Ball in order to take down these Keshiks. They do have the same amount of armor as normal Knights do in Feudal Age, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for him. Also, he's going to be lacking the mobility with those archers. With spears, at least, like, you make up a little bit for the lack of mobility. In this case, I feel like it's getting very, very difficult now. Up to 14 Kashyyyks, he still has more Kashyyyks than Ghazi Raiders.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like, you know, it's not like something that's going to be difficult to macro to, right? When you get a barracks, I mean, it's just a little bit of food, a little bit of wood. You're using that, making Ghazi Raiders anyway, and Spearmen are just going to end up being more effective. I think it's more so just because we're in God mode, Crackety, and we can see that BC has Kashyyyks and only Kashyyyks. Demu doesn't have that luxury, right? So he's thinking, oh, maybe we're going to see some archers, or maybe we're going to see a lot more spearmen that come out, and spearmen are staying at home because they're not as mobile or something like that. I think if Demu takes a look at that base, sees a little bit of scouting, or just takes a look and sees what BC has for his whole army, Demu would be like, yeah, I think I'm going to run into your base.
At least now, spearmen are going to be coming in for Demu. We did just see him place down that barracks. Oh, army gets spotted out. Archers are going to try and get the wall up, but yeah, it's a lot of units here. So even though in theory Beastie has the counter here for this military, he's going to be a little bit hesitant when it comes to actually taking a fight. It's just a lot of units, and behind this Demu, he does have the +1 damage upgrade. Beastie does have the +1 pierce armor upgrade. It's still kind of an even trade. It's still going to be 2 damage coming through from these archers.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, because of the mobility, the archers are never going to catch up. He's trying to block him off just a little bit. Beastie's kind of sitting in this corner with the outpost, and I don't think he saw the outpost yet until about right now. You see on Aeroslit, some of them are going to be able to come out, but these Kashyyyks, they're sitting in the corner. They're looking for the next map over, and I don't think they have anywhere to go. Looks like Beastie's going to be taking that charge against those Ghazi Raiders. Ghazi's doing a pretty good job, those Raiders. I think maybe a couple of them ended up going down, but the great thing about him, Crackety, is he's trying to get that raid. You see Cal doing a wonderful job of doing that picture-in-picture on that south wood line. Couple of villagers are going to end up going down. Demu's berry villagers looked like they were a little bit in danger, but those Kashyyyks trying to run the other way. These Ghazi Raiders, Crackety, even though I hardly know her, they're going to be able to catch up to those Kashyyyks and take them down.
I'm wondering what's happening behind this, because Demu, he's not looking right now. Look at the picture-in-picture. Is still villagers dying in the wood line. Just now gets noticed, but that's a big deficit now in the economy for Demu. Also doesn't have any sacred sites capture, and behind this, Beastie aging up to Castle Age.
Yeah, and I think that's really, honestly, I think that's really what he needs at this point. You know, I mean, trying to get to Castle Age, get some of those really strong Castle Age units, upgrade those. Kashyyyks going to really help you out. Kashyyyks are going to be able to take this fight kind of near the town center. He's trying to keep that step readout pretty much alive, but those Ghazi Raiders, they're doing a good job just trying to limit that Kashyyyk count. Now, step readout ends up coming in. Looks like we have about 5 or 6 Kashyyyks that are left. Demu is adding spearmen. You can see that on the top right part of your screen. There's about 9 or 10 spearmen over there. Now that Beastie hit Castle Age, he knows, hey, you spent 1,800 resources doing things like making a fancy building, so that means you don't have any units. Military count 51-7. Demu's like, this is my time if I'm going to charge.
Yeah, and he's diving the TC. 15 villagers inside firing on the archers, and Beastie is now starting to make a lot of men-at-arms, but he doesn't actually have that many in queue here, considering, because now his food economy is going to get completely idled out.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty rough. I mean, BC does have a considerable amount of idle time, and he's trying to add some men-at-arms. You talked about food getting idled out because all of those pastures and those sheep were lying dormant for a considerable amount of time. It just means those men-at-arms, you might not be able to get that many. Beastie's sitting on 23 food. He has 3 men-at-arms in the queue. He's got to start harvesting some mutton if he's going to make some men-at-arms good enough to take a fight here.
At the same time, Demu, he's floating, not floating, but he's sending more and more units over to BC space. Now, gold is getting exhausted, so now BC, at least he can put all of those villagers over to food, because that's what he needs right now. He needs a big amount of men-at-arms in order to come back from this.
Yeah, and if you're Demu, man, you gotta just lay on the pressure right now. You know, I mean, a lot of these villagers are trying to get up north around that step readout site. They're going to be meeting a decent amount of archer arrows, and just camping around that step readout just means those villagers don't have anywhere to go. We have 10 or 15 villagers. They're doing a little dotsy-do, doing the hokey pokey, turning themselves around. They don't really know where to go. They're going back on the wood over here. Men-at-arms are going to be able to take down some of those Ghazi Raiders, take down a lot of archer fire as well.
There's one Kashyyyk killing like 10 villagers there from Demu. More villagers getting pulled. Oh my god.
That's got to be, there's 35 total economic units from Demu. And I think about 20 of them were just shivving a Kashyyyk at that point.
Definitely not a feels good man situation there for Demu. And Beastie, he's got the economy right now in order to just pump out more and more of these men-at-arms. Plus 2 Pierce Armor also going to be coming in here. Not really that he needs it. At this point in time, the men-at-arms only take 1 damage anyways, with 5 armor against the 6 damage from the archers.
Now it's kind of crazy because, like, yeah, these men-at-arms are gonna repel the archers, right? And the spearmen are gonna end up going there. I think I see an outpost over there from a Beastie with a Springald in placement, so it means that they don't really have anywhere to go. Archers are gonna continue to fire at these men-at-arms, but if you're Demu, what do you think you got to be doing right now? Because he's continuing to make a bunch of units. He's got an economic count of 37. Does he try to go up to castle? But I don't think he's gonna be able to because that one Keshik is just idling the entire Delhi province.
The wall, it hasn't been finished. Demu, he didn't re-wall. And so the Keshiks are just able to freely dive into the food economy here from Demu. That's going to cost him heavily. Still at the moment, 49 military to 8. And BC's been losing a lot of his men-at-arms, and he needs to build a big mass if he wants to be able to deal with this army that Demu has right now. That's going to be a couple more villagers going down at the very least. Khan should also be going down to the archer fire. Demu, he's not focusing the men-at-arms with his units, instead going for the outpost. Only archers right now.
And that's the thing about these men-at-arms, Crackety, because you're talking about trying to get a mass of them. As them individually, they're not necessarily a DPS unit, right? So they're not going to be able to take down 30 archers, you know, with just 2 or 3 men-at-arms. That's not going to do it for you. BC's outpost basically being the MVP and making sure his vills stay alive.
And there's also a single Keshik going to the deer right now as well. Damn, he's losing so many villagers. First a surprise outpost, now the Keshik coming in as well. Oh, Demu, he's really having trouble right now when it comes to food.
And you know, if you just finish that wall, right? Because a wall is only as strong as its biggest hole, right? So having those Keshiks come in there every once in a while, having those 20 villagers end up getting idled, it just means, you know, Demu could have a military count of 60 right now if he just stabilized that.
I think that's just the biggest issue here for him right now. BC is starting to get that mass up. 30 archers versus 10 men-at-arms. That's a fight that the men-at-arms are actually going to be able to take. And now BC also going for his own archers behind this. He's going to be able to get veterancy. He's going to be able to get those advanced blacksmith upgrades. And now Demu, it feels like he's kind of stuck in that feudal age, not really able to get out of it. And without the access to food as well, he's not able to like get the superior unit mass going for him as well.
No, and I think this is where we're going to see the downfall of Demu, right? He's on 6 food, and he's going to be trying to get as much as he can. We saw how clutch those towers were, right? Because then now he knows where he is for food. He's not going to be able to get food. He's done with food this game. He's trying to move on to game 2. Game 1's going to BC.
Yeah, I mean, it really all just came down to these kind of raids, not being able to close those walls, getting the outposts up on the double deer, on the berries in the corner. It just bought Beastie so much information, and he's able to get the maximum value out of those raids. We can see there with the villager count. Looked like Demu was almost able to equalize it with the raid after Beastie had Castle Age. But in the end, the continued raids then, just these couple of single Keshiks able to win Beastie the game.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, honestly, I think for Demu, you could take a look at that military count. Oh my God, that's that Delhi snowball, ladies and gentlemen. He had 50 military count. Beastie did have a decent amount of Keshiks, but maybe not so much of anything else. I think for Demu, when you got to that mid-feudal, late feudal kind of thing, I think it was winnable for him. I do.
Yeah, I agree. But next game, it's gonna be from our Chaos category, and it's gonna be moving out. We'll be seeing the Ruse coming in from Beastie against the Japanese from Demu, so definitely gonna be an interesting matchup here. Moving out, probably, like, in my opinion, has, like, on average, the most entertaining games. They're really, like, as the category says, chaotic in the best of ways, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. It's a bunch of chaos. I love it. Especially with, you have a couple of these 2 civilizations. You could see all the water that they'll be moving out to. You could see these civs, they're good. They're good on water. You know, we talk about the Rus having the Ladya fishing boats, arguably one of my favorite units in the game. It's 1 fishing boat, but it works as 2. It's insane. They can teleport their fish to another dimension or to, you know, just the dock to get the plus 40. And then the Japanese, their fishing boats, yeah, they're normal fishing boats, but they're half off. You know, so it just means you're going to be able to get to that feudal age a little bit quicker. And plus, with the Japanese having the Koka Township, if they chose to use that, having a couple shinobi, but against the Rus, how effective do you think those shinobi are?
I guess they can be a little bit effective here and there, if the dogs are getting placed to the side and stuff like that. In the end, like the question is, where are you gonna really be putting your Kremlin? The Kremlin's been nerfed. It doesn't have as much range as it used to. So it's gonna be a while until you really start shooting like behind the wood line. I think instead, maybe a good decision could be to try and place it on one of the sides where the fish are. That could be a way to do it. I also want to quickly highlight like the bans, because we see civilizations like Ayubids, Juji, and China being banned from both players on both sides. I feel like those are also just by far the best civilizations to have on maps like Moving Out and Archipelago.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these civilizations, and you're seeing all of actually HRE is banned on both sides as well. HRE, China, and Zushi. That's got to be good for you. You got to enjoy that one, right? We're not going to see HRE this entire series. We don't have
It's
to.
the same bans, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been honestly, it could have been some really clippable content if we saw HRE coming out of both sides. Just because I
Yeah,
don't
more
know what's
sets.
gonna come out of your mouth when HRE comes out. I don't know what's gonna happen, But the with these, I mean, a lot of these ones that did get banned, they're all civs with good wood economies. They're all civs that they know. Looking at the map pool right now, you're gonna be playing a decent amount of water, right? So a lot of these water civs that end up getting banned, or a lot of these high wood economy civs essentially getting banned, you're going to leave a couple left over. Rus is one that's going to be left over. Japan is one of those leftovers. So it's something that when we're playing on maps like Archipelago, Moving Out, even something like Four Lakes, it might be good. Now, for Four Lakes, because we are going to see Moving Out, but on Four Lakes, these are civs that I kind of thought that I would see more on Four Lakes than a Moving Out per se.
That's true. All right, just a couple of seconds, and then we'll be jumping into our game number 2. Can Beastie build on his lead? Can Demu equalize the set? Here we go. In Moving Out, spawning in the color yellow. You got Beastie playing as the Ruse. A little bit of scout-on-scout fighting already happening between Beastie and Demu, who's playing in the color purple as the Japanese here.
Yeah, this map is incredibly interesting, and you can see it on the lower right-hand part of your screen as we hover over Demu's town center over here on the western side of this solitary middle island. But as the Rus, the number one thing as a Rus player such as myself, the really important things are the little antlers that you're seeing on your screen, right on the mini-map. You're seeing where some of these deer packs are, and our wonderful observers are hovering over on all of these deer packs. The thing of it is, in Dark Age, you can't get to them. You got to get a transport ship, and you got to end up moving out. That's exactly what Beastie ends up doing. He's using a Logi transport ship. But one of the great things about the Rus, Crackety, is you get that transport ship, right? You end up taking your scout, you end up moving it over there just to make sure you get some of those deer patches, and then you could just convert it to a fishing boat if you want to.
It's sort of like Transformers, the fishing ships, like the transport ship's just gonna go burp, 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 burp. I can't do the sound effect for the Transformers, unfortunately. I don't have it as a soundboard ready on me as well, but that's as close as we're gonna get. But yeah, BC, he's just gonna put the scout on the outer ring, and then he's gonna transform the transport ship into a fishing ship. There we go, transformation has been started. And now it's gonna be a lot of gold that BC can pick up. Demu on the other hand side, yeah, he's just going to go for the fishing ship, so he's not going to try and deny Beastie that bounty.
Yeah, and that's kind of weird, because I mean, obviously Beastie gets a little bit of payoff because obviously for the bounty, but the transport ship gets transformed. For Demu, do you think that's a good move? Not going for the transport ship and not trying to deny this deer hunt, because BC can get all 4 deer packs. He can get every wolf that's here. He can get every sheep that's here. Not so much that it matters just because of all the fish, but you got to think you want to be competitive with these deer packs, huh?
Right, something that I actually don't know off the top of my head. Does the Ruse bounty affect fishing ships? I think it might.
I don't, to my knowledge, I didn't think so. I didn't think that they did, but again, I'm not 100% sure. If we had somebody who is obviously, what's really nice that we're streaming on Twitch is Twitch chat is Conk7, so they're going to be able to tell us. But
all right, it's only villagers, only villagers. We're safe, we're safe. So in this situation, what I want to say is, the deer, or rather the bounty, isn't going to be as important to deny, because chances are you won't be able to deny Beastie getting at least 100 bounty to be able to age up. So you might as well, like, you might as well not deny it at all, because after that, there's only a certain amount of gold that he'll have left over for either economy upgrades or ships afterwards. Looks like Demu is going to be in a position to at least deny a couple of the deer here. Sheep look fairly even as well. Not that that really is going to come into play here. I think for the most part, it's really just about that gold being able to age up. And yeah, BC should definitely, like, yeah, he already has enough gold to be able to age up here. So it's not a big deal for him. Behind this, like, we can tell the age up, like, it's coming in really, really quickly. Beast even having villagers on his sheep right now under his TC, so he wants to make sure that his age up is going to be coming in as soon as possible. Get that really, really good timing in that the Roos tend to have over other civilizations, where the feudal age just comes in at a ridiculously fast time, and then you can transform one of your ships and just be able to really annoy your opponent's ships early on. And it's going to be the Golden Gate here, so he's going to be able to make use of those tickets that he'll get, either for other resources other than gold, like food, wood, or just to be able to get more gold, be able to pump more demolition ships out, get more of those hulks in, those sprinkled ships, and really get in that position where Roos wants to be. I feel like Roos is like one of these civilizations where you don't want to find yourself trapped in a demolition ship war, mainly because those demolition ships from Roos are just so big. They're so easy to snipe out.
They are. Yeah, I mean, with the arrow ships, the attack ships, and the demo ships, I think the one thing about the Roos, which maybe people don't really like too much, is besides the demo ships having that massive flaming area, you know, so you can tell it's a demo ship, the attack ships and the arrow ships, they're kind of difficult to parse, you know, and sometimes just because they kind of look a little similar. I mean, obviously the bow of the attack ships are going to be a little bit more distinguishable, but BC going to be going up with that Golden Gate, one of my favorite landmarks. And I'm so glad to see it again. There's a transforming fishing boat right smack dab next to that fishing line. So we're going to see some of these boats start to move in the opposite direction. Demu has got to hit that feudal age button. He's got to hit it now.
Yeah, Coca Township is going to be coming in. In the meantime, fishing ships are going to have to seek shelter. Oh, it's so close. Oh, it does go down. Wasn't able to repair it in time. So that is going to be one fishing ship killed here. Not that it really matters too much, to be fair. Like the Japanese, it's sort of similar to how Abbasid deal with their villagers. They don't mind if they die. They barely cost anything anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so, it's all about idling, right? It's all about trying to stall them out. And these boats, they're trying to get some of these fish. And I saw that third one, that one fishing boat over there trying to dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge out of those arrows. But it ended up going back to the dock. Beastie adding a second one for himself over here on the southern side, and we are gonna see most likely another naval battle. It looks like Demu, he does go with the Coca Township. You can see that Shinobi is in the queue. He's gonna be trying to get some attack ships, right? Some of these sprinkled ships, trying to make sure you're trying to stall out some of these galleys. What's really nice for Demu, though, is the Japanese. One thing we didn't really talk about yet is because of that passive stone income, you might be able to get a little bit of naval arrow slits that could help you out. It looks like Demu, just because I saw those resources, I don't think he's doing it more passively. He's trying to get some stone now.
Yeah, now he's actively starting to mine that stone in order to get those emplacements. I think it's very, very important, especially for Japanese, to be able to get those emplacements and nice and early, be able to take control over most of the part of the map there. And indeed, there we go. First arrow slits is going to be coming in. We're also getting the first of the demolition ships here for Beastie. Demu has to be careful because the stock already took a little bit of a hit there, so it's already lost like 20% of its health.
Yeah, those sprinkled ships really work wonders against those docks. You get enough sprinkled ships, those docks will absolutely disintegrate. But now Beastie, he's got his rock, he's got his papers, he's got his scissors. So it looks like he's going to be able to take a fight. He's got arrow, he's got sprinkled, he's got demo. It looks like Demu just has one of those arrow ships, and you saw the arrow slits before the dock. A good explosion hits some fishing boats too. Some of these fishing boats are going to go down. That's 2 fishing boats going down. They're going to be able to repair that sprinkled ship, but that demo, that was pretty good.
Demu making sure he doesn't lose too much, and these fishing ships, they are replaceable. It was a necessary move, I feel like, for Demu. Has to be careful though. Definitely doesn't want to lose that archer ship now. And he is going to be in a good position. And yeah, there it is. No Kremlin means that the Shinobi is actually going to be able to kill a villager there as well. Looks like Demu, did he kill 3 villagers?
I think
He must have killed 3 villagers with that one.
I think he might have, and that's one of the most. This is one of the mistakes I made when dealing with Shinobi for the first time. As you see, yeah, 4 ended up going down. It looks like another one's gonna end up going up. Oh, no, didn't finish the animation, but transported himself there on the northern side. It looks like he will be able to sabotage that dock if he wants to, if he still has that cooldown. But one of the mistakes that I've made before when dealing with Shinobi is you think, oh, villagers, they don't have any melee armor, whatever. But those knives that the Shinobi have, they're so sharp. I think they hit for like 20, don't they?
I think it might even be more. It wasn't like 20 and then +5 against melee units, something like that. Like, they do an incredible amount of damage. It's, yeah, 20 +5 versus melee units. But I think villagers don't count as melee units.
Yeah, they might, just because they're considered more economic units. But yeah, those knives that they have, or ninja stars, or whatever they happen to use, they're quite sharp. And it looks like Demu trying to take the initiative a little bit, trying to get over to that roost dock over there on the south side. Demu had to make his fishing a little bit more up north, but Beastie has something to say about it. Again, we have these naval arrow slits for a lot of the docks here from Demu, and you can see how far they can shoot those arrows. It just kind of, I don't know how you feel about this, Crackety, but just because of the fact that naval arrow slits exist, it feels like it really stalls the game out on water.
Yeah, I mean, this situation, Demu, he's able to survive through the little bit of threat window, I want to say, where Ruse can really like start snowballing you on water. I think it definitely was necessary here for him to go for that. A little bit of an extended fight there with not even numbers, so Demu definitely doesn't want to take that trade. Is going to have to back off and fall back to that dock with the emplacement.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, we're kind of witnessing the stall, right? Both of these navies are just sitting by their respective docks trying to get healed. It looks like Naval Arrow Slits is going to push the initiative a little bit, but Beastie's going to have to back up just because of the range of that stuff too. I mean, that villager's going to end up repairing it, but it's still in the range of the Naval Arrow Slits, and this is what happens. We're all just sitting here with bated breath, waiting for some of these fights to happen.
It's a lot of wood actually being used up here to repair that. You can see, like, in the top right side, like, Beastie, he's losing wood rapidly, and now Arrow Slits came in on the outpost as well. That's another villager going down there for Beastie. Beastie, though, looking at the income, he's still 1,200 wood compared to 660 wood per minute here. That's just the Ruse economy, and also having the option of potentially just trading out resources with that golden gate.
It's so wild too with how much wood he's able to get. I mean, just having that wooden fortress and doing things like getting double broad axe that Beastie has, and getting things like wheelbarrow, making sure you're going to be able to produce very quickly. It looks like Beastie, he really wants to take down this southern dock, and I really like what he's trying to do. He's got 2 or 3 demo ships, so maybe the arrow ships from Demo might not be able to snipe. I think if he gets a good demo shop here, it could be really huge.
Villagers actually getting pulled. That's a lot of villagers. They're a little bit clumped up. Archer ships, they're gonna go there. They're gonna go for it. They're gonna go for it. Demu has to pull the villagers back. That's gonna be at least 1 villager going down. Could have been 1. The demo ship now coming up in perfect time. Oh, getting huge connections to 2 Springle ships going down there. And that was an incredible trade there for Demu. I'm not sure what Beastie was thinking, just standing that close to the dock. Like, you have to be thinking, oh my god, there could be a demo coming out at any point. And indeed it did.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the opportunities where Beastie, he would have loved to see what Demo was queuing out of that dock. But getting that demo out, that's really important. Military count 30 to 34 for both of these players. That's fishing boat that ends up going down. More fishing over here on the southern side. I'm not really sure why he's sending fishing boats over there. I mean, maybe trying to get a little bit of food. Maybe he might be able to repair at the same time. But this stalls out a little bit. That Demu fishing economy over there on the north side is going to be taken down by a couple of Rus attack ship. Naval arrow slits are going to be helping out. This map, it's really living up to its name, Crackety, in terms of chaos. There's been naval battles on north side, south side. No clear victor yet.
But at the same time, Beastie, even though he doesn't have like a dramatically higher military ship number, he's able to push Demu here on one side and stall him out on the other. Demu, he's now going to try and go for a push on the other side. I would imagine now that Beastie is pushing in this far. To be fair, there's still the emplacement, right? So it's a lot of passive damage just coming in the entire time.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, just based on how much naval arrow slits cost, it's really worth its weight, isn't it? You know, I mean, the docks from Beastie are trying to pump out units all the time. A lot of these Springald ships are trying to take down this dock, that Roost dock on the south side, probably about 50%. of the way down there. And on the north side, another naval battle on either side. I want to give a big shout out to production right now for making sure they're not missing a beat. These water maps are very, very difficult. So big shout out to Cal and big shout out to Vodka for making sure that we can get all of the action here. It looks like that roost dock on the south side, there was no arrow slits on it, Crackety, and there never will be. It's down now.
Down indeed, and behind this, it looks like the outpost from Demu, it's starting to fire on villagers. I think there were more villagers that just got killed there. In the woodline from BC.
Look at this.
Now
No! Oh my god.
That's where it is.
All these wooden fortresses are trying to get built for BC, but it takes a little bit longer to try to get them up. We got another naval battle over here on the south side. Demo ships trying to get that little bit of an edge on that naval battle. Looks like they will be coming up dry. Demo ship does take down a Springald ship on the northern side for Demo. It looks like he's trying to push the initiative. Naval Aeroslit's trying to help Demo out on that north side, but that dock is burning, ladies and gentlemen. It might end up going down if we don't end up getting some repairs off of it, but now it's going to be all about the middle. This is a massacre. Both of these players are trying to get as much wood. Oh my god, there's just peasant corpses scattered all over this forest line, adding fertilizer to these trees.
Yeah, I think BC might be trying to just go out now, go on the outer ring to get more wood. So there's a lot of villagers there in the middle side. Tries to play around the line of sight to not get hit there. But right now, the economy, it's definitely looking a little bit grim here for Beastie. We can see the wood income. It's been at 1,200 wood per minute. It's down to 400, 500-ish now.
Yeah, and I mean, that northern side's a little bit safe. Once that ends up getting thin, maybe he ends up moving out in a different direction. Another beastie dock on the northern side is going to end up going down. This could be a big naval battle here. As Demu is trying to retreat just a little bit, the dock is going to be coming up on the northern side. It looks like it's a battle of inches here. Practically, one dock goes down. They do their best to try to get a dock around there, trying to get some naval arrow slits, just trying to mark where their points are in the Navy. But now we see a lot of Bruce Springald ships over here on the north side trying to take down the Japanese Springald ships. That dock is not going to go up. That's a couple villagers that end up going down. Those arrow ships looking for things to actually hit. There's a lot of Springald ships over there on the northern side, but now he might be able to get rid of that dock just because of that little bit of bonus damage. But I agree with you, Crackety, especially with that wood line on the north side. It's only a matter of time before we see some transports.
You have to move out at some point in time. I think the sooner the better. Demo behind this, he's even banking up some resources. Could potentially be going up to Castle Age at some point here soon.
Yeah, that's kind of why. I mean, Demu does have the luxury of doing that, I think, just because of the economic count, right? He was ending up taking down a decent amount, and hopefully we'll see some outposts over there on the north side. He pulled a lot of villagers to try to build a dock, just to make sure he's getting naval arrow slits pretty much on that thing immediately. So he'll be able to shore up, pun very much intended, he will be able to shore up his defenses over there on the northern side. The one thing for Beastie, I feel like that's been going very well for him, is he has a lot of fishing boats on that eastern side, a lot of that deep water fish. It's been relatively untouched, but I think that fish is going to be running out soon.
I think Demu, he can go for another outpost there behind the wood line, then get with a fishing ship like close to the shoreline. Because fishing ships, they have so much line of sight. Could be that he gets another couple of villager kills here, but now Beastie is pushing with his entire fleet. Wait, I think he converted a couple of his fishing ships, right? Like, that's a lot of archer ships right now that he has.
Yeah, I think he might have too, and you know, he's kind of sacrificing that food economy. You can see Beastie on the top right part of your screen. He does have some boats, you know, there's maybe about 5 or 6 different fishing boats, but that food economy is severely low compared to what Demu has, and it looks like we're going for a little pincer technique, Crackety. We see a North Navy, we see a South Navy from Japan. Might we get some sneaky demo ships? It looks like he's trying to take that battle at the same time, but the thing is, the North, the South, they didn't converge at the same time, so he can deal with this North side, and by the time he does deal with that North side, some of these demo ships might get some good points of impact. Let's see where these demo ships end up going. You just gotta hit the button, you gotta explode. There you go.
Oh, that's some big hits.
And now BC's gonna be able to turn around. He can be able to get the South Navy.
Yeah, suddenly, like, wait, no, BC. What happened? Look at the economy. He just lost like 10 more economy units.
Oh my god, this is
And
chaos,
suddenly the
man.
trade is fine.
This is absolute chaos. I mean, Beastie did pull the hold on this pincer technique, but these outposts, you see the northern side, it's starting to thin out a little bit. You know, so we're seeing these outposts come up, more villagers end up going down. Demu's ready to hit the Castle Age button.
And that could be floating the floating gate very soon here. And there it is. Floating gate is going to be coming in on the court, like on the ring outside. Demo ship gets a big connection as well. And 2 Springle ships go down in the blink of an eye.
That's the second time that he got baited by that dock. You know,
Demo's
demo ship.
attacking the economy at the same time. Has to be careful though. There's a single demo ship, 2 demo ships that could spell doom for these Springle ships.
And this south side Navy, I mean, Demu, he's trying to build that as fast as he can. He's got 11 villagers trying to suspend that gate in midair. So it looks like he will be trying to get to Castle Age. You get some of those Castle Age technologies too with some of these boats. Beastie, look at this wood line. He's got to vacate all the way over there as we see that floating gate.
Villagers are getting pulled for the dock. BC is pulling all of his villagers now in order to take that dock down. He doesn't want it to provide the line of sight. But truth be told, it could also just be a fishing ship.
You know, all those villagers took it down, and you know that dock has naval arrow slits, and he's like, no, that thing's on land. I'm not hitting it. I'm not doing it. I'm not touching these villagers. It's not on water. I'm not going to try to take them down. Now Wooden Fortress over there on the northern side. It's an outpost race.
Players going for it, but now Castle Age has come in. Armored Hull is going to be coming in as well. Ship count overall still even. Beastie trying his best in order to take that dock down with the arrow slits. Not burning yet, should be burning any moment now. But Aerodel has been coming in. Oh my god, and the unique tech for the Japanese is also coming in. +2 armor, +2 pierce armor for these ships. And guess what? Beastie has 9 arrow ships, +4 more in queue. Once that upgrade comes in, these ships are useless.
Yeah, those arrow ships are... those Roots arrow ships are going to be shooting marshmallows at this point. I mean, especially against the Springled ships over here. I mean, I know, you know, the Springled ships is the counter, but it's just going to be that much harder of a counter, right? Military count 80 to 72. It looks like Beastie. He's trying to sit in feudal age for a little bit. He wants to push the initiative, maybe before some of these upgrades come in, and some of them have not come in yet. It looks like for Demu, he's probably got about 10 to 15 seconds before he gets all of it, so Demu's going to back up. He's going to back up that little bit on that western side. He gets a good line formation on some of these ships and kind of staggers what's going on. Demo ship trying to get a little bit of a how you doing. And maybe only one.
Upgrade should be coming in any moment now. And still some good connections here overall, but now with all the upgrades, Demu should be in a good position at the fight. But oh my god, sometimes you're just not able to tell which ship is which with the ruse. But yeah, you can tell that these archer ships, like, so many of them, they're not doing damage. They're not doing damage. And GG gets called. They're just not doing any damage.
Those Roosh arrow ships are like, why is my arrows bouncing off these ships? What is going on here? Just get me out. And Debu ends up taking that one as Japan against the Rus. So now, on that chaotic map, I feel like we all just need to, let's just take a deep breath here. That was
Let's
pretty,
calm down for,
yeah, that was pretty chaotic. My heart rate's spiking.
It was 100%. Yeah, look at that military count there at the end. Like all of these ships, so many arrows getting shot, but no damage ultimately sticking in the copper plating. Just being able to win Beastie that game. Not Beastie Temu, oh my god.
Yeah. See, you thought it was going to be a Beastie Stomper, but it turns out that Dumu has awoken. The beast has arrived. And I got to say, actually, I think that might be the single best game I've ever seen of copper plating. Originally a meaningful tech, because if I'm not mistaken, Crackety wasn't like a 2% increase in ranged armor when they first released the expansion.
I'm not sure if it was just a tooltip that was bugged or if it was actually just 2%.
I like to imagine it just was, but that was insane, that game. And, you know, quite an interesting thing here, because I think in this particular situation, with what we've been seeing in this tournament, I got to go to Tim for this question. Are Rus overrated on water?
No, Rus is never overrated ever.
Really?
Actually. That's my biased opinion. I think on I don't know. I feel like on this map it was kind of weird. You know, I mean, Beastie obviously knows much better than I do, but it feels like just because you have to do things like get your transport ship and get the scout over to get some of the deer, and like you just have to do a little bit more logistics to try to get everything. And then when you have a map like Four Lakes that Roost does such a good job of, just because on Four Lakes, those fish, a lot of those deep water fish, especially those ones in the back corner of the lakes, they're so good for Roost boats because they could just teleport. those fish over to the dock. So it feels like for Roos, it's more of a 4 lakes pick than a moving out pick per se.
That's fair. I think we see similar with Archipelago. We've seen similar with Holy Island more recently as well. And, kind of interesting when I think about this particular map moving out. Crackly, I'd say we see a lot more archer ships here. Like I've been noticing a lot of these games, it's almost like a 50-50 ratio of archer springle chips compared to any other water map where I'd say it's usually like 80, almost 90% springleds.
It's actually pretty confusing to me just how many of them. I guess it's mainly because you need them against the demolition ships, right? Like your opponent, they might be like these little mosh pit fights where you really just need that mass because your opponent's going to be focusing down your archer ships. You need enough of them to survive to be able to snipe out those demolition ships. At the same time, it's also great having those archer ships, like a couple of extra archer ships, because it's a ring, right? Like you go one way, then you can also just sneak a couple the other way, and suddenly you got like 2 archer ships on the backside of your opponent's economy harassing fishing ships there.
Now, we have to look forward to another water map. And this particular water map, it looks like Dumu is going back to the French. Just yesterday, that was the only time it failed to net him a win up against Louis. Do we think there's still something to be cooked with here? Or do we think that maybe Dumu's just, not right on this French pick at all, Tim?
It's so weird to me seeing French played on water during this tournament. I mean, like, right. I mean, I still remember because I'm a day 1 AoE 4 player, so I remember spin to win.
Yeah.
I remember everybody spamming coggers in chat, trying to get a lot of these sprinkled ships making their little loop arounds, all of their villagers on the rowers, I guess, or whatever they are getting dizzy. But for French here, our Archipelago, do you think it's more so just because of, and I'll actually launch this question back to Crackdy, do you think it's more so just because of their springled ships? Do you think that's why? Because it's definitely not wood economy. I mean, they get a little bit of villagers, but that's it.
You know what?
It's a lot of things that add up, but we'll have to see because this game is about to begin.
Exactly, and I know how we get into this game. We've gone from a closed water map into an open water map. Crackety, give me that Transformers noise.
It's not sounding great.
Bro, I think you need a doctor.
Maybe. Tim, come over and need him. But yeah, let's go. Game number 3 between Demu and BC. Is he okay? I don't know. But yeah, here we go. Spawning in the color. I was about to say the color French. Spawning in the color purple. We got Demu playing as the French on a water map. Could you believe it? Archipelago. Coming to you live. On the other hand side, we're used to it, the color by now. Beastie playing as the yellow with the Order of the Dragon. I want to say discount HRE on water. Still really good. Not quite as good as HRE.
Yeah, and I think the reason why we're seeing this on Archipelago is because people are banning HRE, right? We saw the bans for Demu and Beastie. HRE is banned on both sides. So now that we have Order of the Dragon, the fact that I'm actually seeing it in a tournament where players are picking their civs, and okay, that scout just decided to not be a part of this Earth anymore. Right.
You don't want to get it is. You don't need the scout, right? Like, what are you gonna do with the scout? You already got all the sheep of the map, so might as well get rid of it. One less, like, you don't need the houses early then.
Well, yeah, but like, you could have. I don't know. It just it hurt. It hurt to see. But for Order of the Dragon, I mean. Let's talk about some of the discrepancies here as Dark Age is going to be turning into Feudal Age very shortly. As Demu, see, this is the way to treat your scout, Crackety. You have it in the shore. You have it take a long walk on the beach. That seems really nice in terms of beasties that got an untimely demise.
He's gonna be in the water for so long. He's gonna start growing guilds at this point in time.
Yeah, he probably will. Or maybe a Harry Potter reference. He needs a little bit of gillyweed. But looking at the Dark to Feudal Age. Back to my actual question. Let's be serious for a second. Back to my actual question. We see there's a lot of discrepancy when it comes to French and Order of the Dragon when it comes to villager count. Because for the French, they get that little bit of increased economic bonus if you can hover over that town center, our lovely observers, because these villagers are getting made, instead of every 20 seconds, it's 18 in Dark Age, and then it continues to scale in that way. In Feudal Age, it ends up being 17. For Order of the Dragon, making those gilded villagers, it takes a little bit longer. It takes 24 seconds, and I know they operate a little bit better than a normal villager, but we're going to see a wider discrepancy of villagers. And do you think for French, just because of that economic play, because of the economic bonus that they have, do you think that ends up counteracting how good the Order of the Dragon villagers are?
I'm not too sure on how exactly the math works out there, because not only do the French produce the villagers quicker, but they're also getting the economy upgrades a little bit cheaper, which means that you're going to be able to fit them in pretty much immediately. Meanwhile, with the Order of the Dragon, you might have to really make sure that you're going to be in a fine position when you start clicking those economy upgrades. Not that you end up with a sprinkle chip suddenly inside of your base and you don't have anything to deal with that. I think it's going to be, like, this is one of the very, very rare matchups. One that you probably aren't ever going to see outside of this tournament.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, honestly, seeing Order of the Dragon in any kind of tournament setting, again, where players are picking their civs, is a little bit befuddling to me, to be honest. But Order of the Dragon is going to be able to hit that Feudal Age button first. He does go up with the Aachen Chapel, and I know if you've been watching this tournament, you know Aachen Chapel is an HRE landmark as well, but for Order of the Dragon, it works a little bit differently. If you could click on that, because you know some of these gilded villagers, they have that increased economic rate, but Aachen Chapel just ends up pushing it over the edge a little bit. And you can see that chapel, I think it's an extra, how much percent is that? Hover over that for me.
That's going to be an additional 15%. So those villagers, they go from 28% bonus gathering rate to 43% gathering, slightly outdoing the HRE villagers. But the main benefit here that the Order of the Dragon have is once you start gathering rope from outside of that influence, you're still going to remain with that plus 28%. So you're still going to have something going for you. And Chamber of Commerce coming out from Demu. And honestly, I think Chamber of Commerce is just really, really good overall to have as a landmark. You're getting that free market in really nice and early. And I feel like especially on these type of water maps, having a market at any one point in time, like especially early on, just makes such a big difference because you're able to really work around your economy more.
Yeah, I think so too. And then it just kind of, I mean, the Aachen Chapel more so like the HRE, right? It just sets you up for a late game if the game ends up continuing to be that long. Demu spending a decent amount of villagers going for the Chamber of Commerce. Now, I mean, when you get some of these eco-techs, you're going to get free traders. However, these traders are on land. They're not going to have anywhere to trade their goods. But it does work a lot better, obviously, than the School of Cavalry. Just because it's a water map, it's essentially null and void. And I think that's an issue with the French, too, because there isn't really that landmark. There's really that landmark in Feudal that helps propel you to get a good naval economy. Whereas Beastie, with that Aachen Chapel, it's really going to help you.
Yeah, I can already tell. Like, look at his wood income right now. Overall, his income is just miles out of Demu's right now. Age Up is coming in. Now, ships are going to get queued as well for Demu. We see a little bit of the dancing right now happening with the ships, trying to make sure they do stay alive, but looks like the first fishing ship is going to get taken down here. And oh, this is going to hurt. Yeah, Demu is going to have to pull some villagers back further into, like, deeper into the land there. So he gets actually some villagers sniped by the archer ship there.
And it just creates that little bit of idle time, right? I mean, it just makes sure that that wood line isn't necessarily safe. And you can take a look at some of these spawns and the difference of, I would argue that Archipelago could be categorized as a chaos map because these spawns are really, really important. You can see some of these wood lines for BC all the way on that northern side, all the way in the back, so it doesn't be able to get sniped. Demu is a little bit different on that northern side. It ends up getting hit. Some of these arrow ships doing the best they can. It looks like a sprinkled ship from BC are going to be able to come in and try to take down some of this naval economy. And it's really nice when you hit Feudal Age first, Crackety. It's really nice when you hit Feudal Age first, especially as Order of the Dragon, because you can take the fights over on the French side instead of your own side.
Exactly, and man, Demu, he's finding himself in a really difficult situation right now. He's only got a single Springle chip out right now. Beastie's already got 3 more in queue. Traders are getting killed because, honestly, yeah, don't need them. Get rid of them. But yeah, Beastie's just completely outmassing Demu at this point in time. Oh, this is getting difficult now. Has enough Springle chips to start one-shotting the fishing ships.
Yeah, and I mean, this is how it works, right? I mean, this, to me, on paper, this is kind of what I expect Order of the Dragon to do against the French. Order of the Dragon has a good wood economy. French just doesn't, you know? So, you know, BC is going to be able to pump out a lot of these units. And we have a demo ship doing some dodging around that arrow ship, doing a really good job of that. We have an arrow ship from BC making sure there's no demo. And it looks like not trying to get to those fishing boats. They're trying to get to that sprinkled ship. And let's see if it ends up getting one.
Gets a connection. Sprinkle Chip still alive. Gets some healing in. Isn't gonna be enough though from the looks of it. And yeah, I feel like this is over.
Yeah, I mean, Demu's going to be on the back foot for as long as he wants to be a part of this game. He's going to be on the back foot, right? And not getting this fishing economy going is going to be a really big issue. Demo ship taking out another Springle Chip over there on the southern side. And Beastie, well, the great thing about it is some of these are a little bit injured. Some of these Springle Chips, you can just take those back. Another demo ship from Demu trying to get in and get a good connection. And it does. It looks like that little bit of a one-on-one trade for either side. But the problem is, for Demu, yeah, he's taking down some of these Order of the Dragon ships. Military count's still 24-11. And Beastie's fishing economy has been untouched for the entire duration of this game.
Exactly, and I mean, Beastie, he's getting close to even in the economy. Demu's fishing ships have been idled out for a long time. You can tell by his food income right now, 47 food per minute. He's really, really struggling. Wood income pretty even still. But this is not a situation that really feels good here. Not at all. Economy upgrades in for both players so far, Wheelbarrow and the double broadaxe. But really, like, looking at the fishing ship numbers here, Demu's in trouble.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not going to get better, all right? I mean, you know, this is a problem when you're playing against Order of the Dragon, and they have more economic units than you, right? Because a lot of their villagers that they're making are just that much better than yours. I mean, a lot of the stuff that Demu ended up going down was fishing ships. I mean, he might have lost one villager on that wood line on the northern side, but you can see how many worker kills there are. You know, there's 9 worker kills to 0. Demu has not been able to go on to Order of the Dragon waters. All of these have been on French waters, and Beastie's going to continue to push the initiative. He's going to suffocate the poor man.
And Demu still with only a single archer ship here. Doesn't have what it takes in order to really get rid of these demolition ships. And Beastie, he's got 3 archer ships, 6 Springle ships. And now up to 4 demolition ships, just the numbers. The numbers game isn't adding up at all for Demu right now.
No, it isn't. You can see what he's doing with his navy. All of those ships with the beautiful purple fleur-de-lis are going to end up moving on the southern side. It looks like Demu's trying to get 1 or 2 demo ships. He needs some of those lucky demo hits to keep a shot into this game. And that one's not getting it.
A straight out for an archer ship at the very least, so get something in return. Could be able to... Nope, doesn't snipe out the demo ship there. I feel like you really want to get rid of the demo ship, lest it just creeps around the corner. Maybe gets an archer ship. Not quite. It's getting close, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that Demo just can't take a fight straight up, right? I mean, based on the military count, the demo ship ends up not getting a hit. Demo ship does try to take down an archer ship, but we did get a good demo hit on the southern side, it looks like. And this is basically just a war of who can get a good demo hit the fastest, right? What's really nice for Beastie is Demu doesn't have naval arrow slits on any of those docks, right? He can't really afford to send some villagers on stone because of how behind he is militaristically. And it looks like Beastie is going to be trying to get an arrow ship here. Maybe he might be able to spot out a villager, but ends up not being able to get there. That wood line from Demu, just making sure it's over on that northwestern side so an arrow ship can't get there. But economic count, 43-42, Beastie's doing a really good job.
Yeah, it's definitely just looking really tough right now for Demu. And Beastie's up to 11 Springle ships. Demu's gonna need some godly demolition ships in order to come back in this one.
Yeah, I mean, he's got... he better be making mostly demos, and I mean, he is making Springle chips, but another dock ends up going down, so nothing will be queued in that particular regard. It looks like that northern side, Beastie going to be trying to make that little bit of a front with his navy. Demo ships on the south side for Demu, trying to get in there, but they're not sneaky enough. They're going to end up backing up in the other direction. Sneaky demos from Beastie over there on the south side. Some of those Springle chips end up going down. Military count 55-35. Yeah, Demu doesn't have a shot in this one.
Yeah, French versus the HRE variant civilization here on water. Honestly, it was just like completely overwhelmed. They went, oh, wait a second, hold on, hold the phone. It's not enough. It's still 9 Springle chips remaining here.
I thought Demu might have exploded himself back into this game, but military count, yeah, you're right. I mean, he probably would have had to take down just about all of those to have a decent amount, but military count now 55-13, and that's the difference. Demu trying to replenish what he had for his navy. Beastie are going to be able to do it at pretty much a moment's notice.
Yeah, and Beastie, he's just trying to finish it off now, this game. he already probably knows that at this point in time, like, it's pretty much impossible for Devin to come back in this one. But still, you have to be really careful in water, because all it takes is just 1 or 2 good demolition ships, and suddenly the playing field is even again. Demu, he's still somewhat even when it comes to the overall income here. But it's so tough. It's so tough coming back from this situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's somewhat even, Kraken, but it just feels like food has been such a problem because of all these fishing builds. Demo's going to be able to be coming in here from BC. You see those Order of the Dragon demos. It looks like Demu trying to get a cheeky one over here for a lot of Springle chips. One might end up going down. Those Springle chips, they're running out of shore here, Kraken. They're looking for the next archipelago. They're not going to be able to find it. A lot of these Springle chips now down at about 5 to 10% for Demu. And now, BC's got a bit of corner. He has nowhere to go. All of this Navy that's going on here, it's down.
And more demolition ships are going to be connecting. Archer ships sniping out the demolition ships here from Demu as they come out. A lot of these Springle ships are low health, but yeah, in the end, it doesn't matter. And OTD beating French. I've seen this play out pretty much this way. It's still very tough. Like, even if you go for a landing attack with the French, like Order of the Dragon, all they need is a single spearman, and because the spears are just so strong, you're able to just take down multiple knights with a single spear. So that's definitely not an approach either to take. And yeah, just the immediate aggression there in Feudal Age, being able to snowball this game for Beastie.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we have enough we have enough snowball references to make a snowball fight at this point, and I'm really loving it. I really am. But you know, I mean, that was just pretty much Beastie got to Feudal Age first, being as Order of the Dragon, and was relentless and continued to really push that initiative. So now 2-1 lead for Beastie going into game 4. It's match point. Demu's tournament life on the line. And he's going with Woodwall, that closed map. And he's going to be going with the Byzantines against the Malians. How do you feel about this matchup, Crackety?
Byzantines, I feel like, are just overall really, really strong. When I look at the Malians, they got a really, really good answer to the longbow spam with the javelin throwers. At the same time, Demu can also just go for his own javelin throws, but then it's going to be difficult for him to outmass the Malian javelin throws, but not impossible. And something that's really, really good for the Byzantines against the Malians is those Libidinae. Having the ability to act as such a great meat shield with the reduction of range damage with javelin throws, for example, like if they're able to just be the meat shield, javelin throws don't do any damage to those spears.
No, and that's what, that's what I notice about the Malians in general, is because they have such a unique kit, right? They have all of their units, besides, archers, are pretty much unique. The Donzos are unique, the Musafati are unique, the javelin throwers are unique. So when you're playing up against the Malians, you got to be thinking in your head, you're like, okay, does my kit match up with the Malians' uniquities and what they're able to bring to the table? Some civilizations don't do it very well. If you have civs that are predominantly like knight archer based, they're not going to be that great because of Donzos and javelin throwers. They do a really good job. For the Byzantines, because of that Libidinae, right? I feel like their kit matches up exactly like you said. Making sure that you have the shield wall, making sure that you have that buffer around there. And there really isn't much that the Malians are going to be able to do about it. I mean, yeah, they have, archers, but it's not like they have men-at-arms in Feudal. It's not like they have, some of that in their own kit, in their own arsenal to deal with. And sofas obviously aren't the move either. So it becomes pretty tricky for the Malians to deal with it. But what's nice for the Malians on this particular map is because it's closed, it takes a little bit of extra time for the Byzantines to get around there. Maybe the Malians can get a little bit of an unscathed cow boom going on.
Definitely. But I think if it's like a 1TC versus 1TC kind of play, the main thing, or rather the main way that Malians tend to win in like early Castle Age is just overwhelming your opponent with all the food that you're getting from your cow boom and just being able to pump out a million units there. If there's a civilization that can really keep up with that, it has to be the Byzantines, with those free mercenaries being able to just get so many units out. Then you're able to, like, sure, your opponent is going to cow boom, but you're going to get a free farm transition in the meantime. So you're going to have that continued income, that continued olive oil income, being able to keep out on making more and more of those mercenary units. And then suddenly you're able to keep up and maybe even be able to push back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the I think Byzantines are one of the civilizations now. A lot of the times when you're playing against Mali, a lot of people like to get a second town center because you got to make sure, right, that you're getting the economic units and you're trying to get rid of the pit mines and the cow boom and all of that kind of stuff. Are Byzantines going to go second TC here?
I think, like, if you're going second TC with Byzantines, you might be putting yourself on the back foot as soon as Castle Age approaches. I think 1 TC is probably going to be the safer bet here, but we'll be able to find out any moment now. As game number 4 is going to approach Beastie. Already on match point, can Demu once again equal out the series with the Byzantines here on Woodwall?
And I think playing as the Byzantines, he might have a pretty good shot. In order to do that, pit mine going up for Beastie. Some of these houses are going to be able to get up there just so he can get to Feudal Age. Now, Byzantines on the other side, I think one of the things that's really important to take a look at, obviously, is where those berries are, right? Where that first cistern's going to go. He's going to be able to get some of those berries, the gold, the sheep, which is really going to help. And, you know, what's nice for Demu, too, is he has a nice little backberry area. Maybe you can spawn a couple little bit more merc units with it.
Yeah, definitely not looking bad here for him, having all the resource that he needs inside the influence of his cistern. Also, something to take note of is on this map, next to the sacred sites, there's a lot of additional berries. So if it gets into like a drawn-out game, a drawn-out feudal age game without a farm transition, could be the potential of Demu moving out on the map and just being able to harvest olive oil from those outward berry spots. That's a lot of berries.
Wow. That's just... It's getting, you know, if Demu's able to get this sacred site, maybe he ends up getting a wall in that particular area. It could get noticeably oily for Demu and putting out a lot of those mercantile units. Now, in this particular area too, you know, we talk about doing things like for the Byzantines in feudal, doing things like getting a second town center, or doing things like getting mercantile units, just to make sure that Malians don't get that boom off, you know. But for the Byzantines, do you think doing things like fast castle into something like Varangian guards or something like that could be a play for him too?
Varangian guards are kind of tough, mainly because you're able to counter them relatively easily, both with Musafadi warriors, but I think mainly probably just with Sofas. Sofas just do absolutely wonders there against the Varangian guards, doing bonus damage, just being really, really fast, being able to just run away, pick their fights. And not only do they do well against the Varangian guards, but they would also do well against the backline. Just if there's javelin throws, if there's longbows, for example, yeah, they would do well in both those situations. That's gonna be the question.
It's kind of crazy too, because you're talking about those sofas, and when they get their imported armor, they become quite the strong pieces of furniture. But they end up doing a little bit of bonus damage to infantry, and that's not something. If you're a Malian player, obviously you know that, but if you're not somebody who sees the Malians that often on ladder, you might be seeing your sofas doing a really good job at taking down your infantry units, and you're like, how did that even happen? You know, but getting that little bit of bonus damage just means that you might be able to swing a fight in your favor, especially with that imported armor. Now, that Mansa Quarry coming up for Beastie. Shout out Mansa Musa, like I always do, richest man in Africa at that time. Going to be able to get that one up. Grand Winery for the Byzantines as well, making sure you get that extra mercantile unit. And you talked about the Byzantines, Crackety. You talked about them being pretty strong in this particular area of the game. You know, will we see something like Byzantines end up being brought back down to earth?
Maybe. I can't speak for the devs there. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But yeah, Byzantines definitely seem pretty strong here at the moment. Malians, though, definitely do have their windows. And it's not like Byzantines are like an uncounterable civilization. You're able to get them into tight spots in many matchups as well. There are matchups, believe it or not, where the Byzantines aren't favored in.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm not gonna go into detail there.
I was gonna say, go ahead. You know, give us a little bit of a
English comes to mind.
Yeah,
English also do pretty well there. I think Malians maybe like they do have a really, really good response when it comes to like the archer, like the backline folk heavy Byzantines there with the javelin throwers. And I think Beastie might just be in a position here where he can just like make a couple of archers, just be able to defend there, and then other than that, just go for full cow boom.
Yeah, and I think for for Demu, he just wants to make sure that doesn't happen, right? He gets a barracks out, he gets his second cistern, and will be able to connect them very quickly as soon as that barracks ends up getting made. But it looks like BC going to be going with an archery range first because he knows there's going to be something like Limited going on. BC doing a really good job of scouting, just making sure that Limited are going to be the ones coming out, and that's exactly what happens. He does get that feudal age upgrade. He is going to be able to connect those cisterns. Wheelbarrow is going to come up for Demu, using that cistern bonus, making sure those technologies are going to be able to get there. And look at that Beastie, going to be having a little bit of another pit mine. He's got a rather large gold over here on the southeastern part of the map, and that pit mine will be going up for the Byzantines. Now, we talked about, you end up getting that buzzsaw, right, with all of the Limited, with all of the mercantile units, but it takes a little bit of time to get it going. So those Limited will be trying to get over there. It looks like one Limited will be able to get there, but that pit mine's up. The worst thing about it, Crackety, is that's a 1,500 hit point building. It's going to take a while to actually get down, so he might have stopped some houses from getting there. He might have been able to delay that, as a Malian archer is going to be coming up here, making sure that Limited ends up going in the other direction. But now that that pit mine's made, that gold's going to be churning.
Yeah, so passive gold is going to be coming in there for Beastie. Second Limited is coming in, so it looks like Demu actually wants to challenge the archer here now to a fight, but second archer is going to arrive. It's going to make sure that Limited aren't really going to do too well. Looks like he activated shield wall, and that single Limited that was getting focused there. And he is able to deny this, or rather delay this expansion on the pit mine, at least for a little bit. But yeah, he's going to have to retreat from there. That is not a fight that he can really win with Limited only. Let's take a look. Okay, it looks like we are... I think that is the Keshik wing. No, that is the Javelin Thrower wing. Yeah. It's kind of difficult to tell because it's a saber. And yeah, I guess the camel riders, they do use that. But I always associate that with the Ghoulems or with the Keshiks that come in.
Yeah, it's always, even for somebody that plays Byzantines like myself, you got to look at that Merc house and just kind of be like, okay, which contract is this? which one am I going for? And plus with that Mercantile house, one of the things too, you're not going to be able to see what your opponent is going for until you see that unit. Right? The Mercantile house doesn't make any changes. It doesn't look any different from the exterior until you see 5 Javelin throwers and you're like, oh, I see what they're doing now. Beastie going to be able to shore up that pit mine over here on the southern side. Some Limited might be able to get up. You talked about that shield wall. Just with those 1 or 2 Limited, it seems like the shield wall looks a lot better when those Limited are in more of a hoplite formation. Right, when they have a decent amount of them, just to kind of scatter some of that arrow fire. And BC's got about 8 archers, which is going to be pretty good, but Demu's really going to need those javelin throws back here, and adding in some horsemen as well. What do you think about his horseman change, trying to add a stable in?
I think it's really good just having that triple composition there. And one of the main things that Malians can struggle with in Feudal Age is when it comes to massing up a large amount of units. And that's probably the main way that most civilizations are able to beat the Malians, is just you mass up so many units that the Malians can't keep up in Feudal Age. And then you just win. You just overwhelm and you just win. You burn down the building, suddenly they're not getting any passive income. And yeah, suddenly it's not a good day for the Malians here. And Demu, I mean, Byzantines, that's not usually like one of the main civilizations that we think about in this context, but with the free mercenaries, or I say free, but like with the mercenaries that they can get, being able to mass up a lot of units would put them in a good position here to be able to go for that play of just trying to overwhelm the Malians.
Yeah, and I feel like with these javelin throwers, you just kind of need enough to make sure that the Malian archers don't get pickings on the Limited, right? And I feel like for Demu, just having the 2 sets of javelin throwers, it gives him the ability to do that. That pit mine finally starts burning. Limited did a good job. He'll have to pull a villager over if he wants to repair that, but you're exactly right. I mean, you lose that pit mine. That's a big, big deal. And Demu's trying to do the best he can. He goes to that back berries that we talked about over on the eastern side, that northeastern side of his base, because he's got to keep up the javelin thrower production against the Malians. And I think even though Beastie, 9 minutes into the game, he's had to make all of these units to make sure his pit mine is contained. That's kind of a win for Demu in my eyes. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Like this right now, just forcing Beastie into making this many units, that is definitely a very good position here for the Byzantines to be in. And any civilization against the Malians, they're going to be happy if the Malians have to invest a lot into units. And that pit mine is going to go down. So that's a lot of gold now not flowing into Beastie's pockets anymore. Roughly 100 gold that he's going to be missing out on now per minute. The cow boom still going steady. We are up to 8 cattle now so far, but it's definitely not where BC wants to be. He wants more.
Crackney, look at how important these horsemen were. I mean, Demu's got just about 3 or 4 in this area, but for BC's military count right now, I mean, he's starting to add in Donzos now. So again, he's reacting to what Demu's doing. He has to add barracks. He has to do all of this kind of stuff and make Donzos get the upgrades where he wants to be banking cattle and all of that kind of stuff because of the fact that Demu added a little bit of horsemen, because there were archers, there were javelin throwers. That was basically the entirety of his military composition. So now that he has to do that, he has to make these changes. He's adding 3 barracks.
That's a lot of production buildings here now for BC. And he'll have to be careful. The way this is going right now, he doesn't have that many sheep remaining under his TC. He might have to really early just pull a couple of cattle out of his ranches just to eat from them. Or have to move out onto deer or any other external food resource. Not something that he really wants to do when he's behind in military.
No, absolutely not. And especially, just like you called it, Crackety, you're seeing those villagers go over to the western berries. If I had to pick a resource not to want to get, it's about picking those pomegranates because of how slow that it ends up being now. Demu's probably going to have to make his own little bit of military change because of those 3 barracks and because he's getting out those Donzos, just making sure that those horsemen don't get a little bit of a surround. I think Demu's going to need to add a little bit of his own archers. And for Byzantines, I don't know, it feels like it feels a little rough to do that because you have such a food-heavy macro when you're doing things like Limit Tene and Horsemen. You're really worried about food, and you can see Demo's doing that. He's got about 1,200 food per minute. Once you start adding archer ranges, once you start adding archers to try to get these Donzos, you kind of have to reformulate what you're doing.
I'm wondering what Demu's plan is right now, if he just wants to double down, or if he wants to age up now behind this. He has villagers and gold, even though he has got all of his upgrades in right now. So I think this might actually just be like a slow transition for him now into that next age, into that castle age. Javelins are sniping out each other. They do bonus damage to each other, which is a little bit funny to watch at times. But yeah, javelin throws definitely... They're definitely working right now, being microed here, trying to get archers, trying to get other javelin throws in, but Demu is just overwhelming right now. Look at that. Horseman now diving past, able to kill up all of the archers, and suddenly, without the archers, BC doesn't have any answer to Limitnai anymore. Sure, javelin throwers don't do that badly against Limitnai. But yeah, man, he's... Oh, and he rebuilt the pit mine behind us. That's just gonna go down immediately again.
Yeah, I think Beastie kind of thought that that fight was going to go a little bit more in his favor, but I just don't think he had enough Donzos for that. Honestly, I mean, Limit Tene, they were able to take down the Donzos, and then there were still 3 or 4 horsemen that are going to be able to surround some of these javelin throwers. Beastie's going to be on the back foot just because of the fact that he lost that first engagement. Donzo's going to be able to throw their spears, much like the javelin throwers. I think everybody in the Malian Empire has the ability to throw some stuff, and that's exactly what those Donzos end up doing. But you're exactly right. That pit mine is going to end up going down. I think Beastie's got to vacate this pit mine. Maybe it was a little bit greedy because he does have a gold over there on the northwestern side of his base. That's a lot easier to protect in this area. I think he wasted a lot of resources trying to get this pit mine up.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And yeah, he is now just going for that pit mine that's on the other side of his base and should be fine with being able to protect that one. But behind this Demu, look at his resource. He's going up to Castle Age very, very shortly now.
And this is, I mean, this is so frustrating when you're playing against the Byzantines, right? They have all of the